definitely want to get moving on this project. How'd you like the title?
I think it definitely elicits thought. It's enchanting. It's, everybody wants to hear a continuation for real.
Right.
And you're actually there. This is a soap opera.
Right. So
and
it's
you're established.
Yep. My first question is, can you share a little bit about your background and your role in entertainment? How did you, first of all, where'd you grow up, and how did you sort of segue into entertainment?
Wow. Well, little known secret, I'm working on a book. My maternal great-grandmother was Guinea. She was born into slavery. Ran all her life. By some miracle, ended up marrying a white guy to stay safe. And that's my mother's line. On her father's side, Scottish, Irish, Confederate soldiers. When I looked on the census record, it either says my people were MU or their race was Y. So that's my little side hustle, the genealogy thing. I'm in a position to join the Daughters of the, American Federation, Confederate Union. Who the heck cares?
Okay, but where? Okay, again, background. Where'd you grow up?
So that took them from. That kind of gave us a haughty nature, if you will, high expectations, no failures. My mother left Barney Fife, my father, who was in entertainment. He did some TV shows in the 50s. Pretty man. And we were reared and educated in Colorado. All of us are Ivy Leaguers, 4 sisters, 1 brother.
Okay.
Lived in the neighborhood with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Saw John Amos a lot. Barcays were 4 blocks over at their family's house. Grew up in Joe Lewis's house, the Brown Bomber from the 1920s and 30s.
Was this in your teens?
This was in my adult, growing formative years. Elementary, junior high, high school.
And so what?
I started.
How'd you get to New York?
I started performing when I was 11, when my sister went to college with a guy named David Atkins. He wanted to be a comedian. He kind of fit into the family. My mother trusted him. And we would go to his comedy shows, and he would help me get singing gigs at the university, which is, Condoleezza Rice's alma mater.
Was he also in Colorado? Was he also in Colorado?
Yes, still in Colorado. Okay. He hit it big on a TV show called, what was that TV show Beyonce was on? Star Search.
Okay.
And he changed his name to Sinbad.
Oh, okay, that's right. So Sinbad's from Colorado.
He's originally from Michigan, but he spent, he jumped off in Colorado.
Okay, so by coincidence of geography and convenience, you ran into him there in Colorado, yes, with your family.
My sister brought him home one day from college.
Hello.
And he moved in.
Wow.
With those 19-inch feet. I was producing concerts.
At the same time?
Yeah, before I met Sinbad, I was singing, doing voiceovers for a radio station. There was only one black station, it's white-owned. They wouldn't play NWA, for example. They were considered Black Panthers.
So this was in the 80s, yes?
Yes. Yeah, I was like 12, 13.
Wow, okay.
I would hear people were coming to town like Prince, and I would call the radio station and say I was with the Denver Post and I needed to interview him. And I was believable, and they set up a little area for me to meet him at the record store, sign autographs. They don't do anymore. And I actually got to meet him, get kissed on the lips. That was a big deal for a 13-year-old.
Huh.
I met everybody from Rick James to Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Cameo, Sister Sledge, Jay Leno. I co-promoted a show for him. I produced shows for LLs, for Cool Mo D. I did concerts in and out of state. Who put me on was Timex Social Club, Jay King.
Okay.
He had a rule with the #1 song in the country, Rumors.
Right.
That he would tell the producers, there's no way in hell you're going to tell me in a city the size of Denver you can't find one person, brown, to work at your company, to run some errands, hang up some posters. You can't do that? And at the time, it was Barry Fay who was in charge, and he said, no, we just don't have any. We don't have time to hire any. He said, well, call me when you do. And I had gone in and asked for a job, and they laughed in my face, literally. I offered to work for free, and they laughed at me. Within 3 weeks, they called me and said they came up with a great idea. How about I help them with a concert for Timex Social Club? But, you know, us brothers and sisters have our own rumor mill. I put in a call to attorney Bob Celestin, who I had met at a little concert thing and going on in L.A. when we were trying to have, make hookups like Jack the Rapper and other music conferences. And I said, is this a trick? And he said, let me call Jay. And he said, no, it's Jay's rule. So that means you've got the upper hand. You go in there and tell them you're a co-promote. You're a co-producer. You're not a runner. You go in there and tell him you deal with Jay directly. You go in and tell him you're on stage. You're going to be doing the talking. You'll be doing the interviews. You'll write the commercials. You take control. Yeah, a lot of work, but you'll establish your worth. And that really put me over the top. Bob moved me to New York. I had $50 in my pocket. And that week I was at Albie Shore's birthday party, shaking hands with Babyface and L.A. Reid. I was hanging out at Uptown. Jodeci was spending the night at my house when they were, getting out too late from Green Street Studios. Father MC, Dougie Doug, comedian. Any of the guys from Uptown I was cool with.
So what were your aspirations when you first I know you ran into Jay King, and that was in Colorado, correct? And also you ran into Sinbad. But they weren't necessarily your aspirations, but what were your aspirations, that when you first entered the music industry or the entertainment industry?
My father told me I was going to be an entertainer, so I just accepted I don't need school. This is all ridiculousness. I entered beauty pageants. I entered talent shows. I won those. I was performing on stage with RCA recording artist Michael Wyckoff when I turned 16. Got me looking up to you, Patti LaBelle. Jean A. redid his track later on in the 80s. I wanted to be an entertainer. So when I started meeting people at head honchos at record labels, Lil Silas or whoever, whoever Jermaine Jackson introduced me to, or whatever entertainment attorney hooked me up with Tony Anderson from Arista Records or Tony Rome from RCA, they would say, we don't want that for you. And I would say, I don't know what you mean by that. We don't want it for you. And once I got to New York, it was like, in retrospect, they would say things to me, but I didn't have sense enough to take it as an insult. I was so immature, ungroomed.
Right. Green.
They would say things, and that's what they would say to me. You are so green. Almost like it was irritating. So I was assigned people.
Sort of holding back your potential.
Yes. But one of the guys explained to me, we give you this record deal. We know you're going to sell. You sound very much like Anita Baker, but here's the thing. we have to let you go.
Mm.
And we can't protect you anymore.
Mm.
So whenever there were industry parties, I was assigned people, other artists that I had to stay with that evening, assigned a driver. I was assigned a female that I later became friends with. She would tell me who I could and couldn't talk to, shouldn't spend time with, who I should rub elbows with.
So what I'm hearing is, while you had talent and could have been on the other side of the camera, the people that were in your ear were trying to utilize your skills to help them make their money also, right? But they wanted to as an executive.
I worked on tracks for remixes for Madonna, Janet Jackson, worked on LL Cool J, Kid and Play, Public Enemy, Welcome to the Terrordome, Fear of Black Planet, Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted, still in the top 25 #1 CDs in the world. Who else? Red Hot Chili Peppers, Young Black Teenagers, Son of Berserk. Any Def Jam artist we were in. We were trying to work with Andre Pharrell with Uptown, but, you know, they had an overabundance of producers. And Devontae Donald, he came in with, I know for a fact, a tape of about 150 songs that were ready for pressing. So they were just my friends, you know, if I needed to run over a desk, or if I needed to sign off for a master, or if there was a meeting, then I was in Def Jam or Uptown. I worked on Juice soundtrack.
So do you get credits for all of these, like that people can look that stuff up, or were you just like an assistant, you know, to run around and do this and do that?
Initially, I came up as Girls Friday.
Okay.
I never ran and got coffee.
Okay.
I saw where I could fit in. Nobody was documenting who was doing what and when.
Got you.
For the credits.
Got you.
For the clearances. So I taught myself this distance of music. And I earned that title as executive by getting those clearances. I have signed for people to get their gold records. And I was thinking the other day I should sign for me to get mine. There's a producer named Paul Walker, entertainer. He used to own Horizon Studios. Lost Boys recorded there. Destiny's Child recorded there. Drew Hill. Alicia Keys, I signed for him to get his gold record. I had that kind of pull, but I had to work at it. The guys told me, one of them in particular, Keith Shockley, he said, Angela, this is what we're not going to have. Straight from Long Island. I said, what's that? You're a cute girl and all that. But you ain't shaking that ass. You got that? Straight up business.
And then there was a point that you got into a film, right? Rolling Family, was it?
I was offered the Eddie Murphy, Halle Berry, Boomerang.
Oh, okay, but you didn't actually get into it.
The scene that they wanted was a nude scene.
Oh, okay.
That ended up on the cutting room floor, so it wouldn't have done me any good. It would have hurt me. I was doing music videos for, Run DMC, Rob Bass, Third Bass.
Oh, wow.
Whoever, whenever, I was fill-in girl. The guys, again, they didn't want that image for me. They didn't encourage it.
Right.
So I would, leave the office at 4 o'clock in a hoe dress after I came out of my suit. So they couldn't see me. Catch a cab, get my hair and nails done, meet with the girls, get on the train, and then stay up all night shooting a video for free. We didn't get paid then. We got no credit. And then, be in time for work in the morning.
So you
That's what they call a hustle, paying your dues.
So you probably represent a whole host of women who were inspired to do big things with their talents and their gifts, but who were sort of held back either by geography, who they knew or didn't know,
Exactly.
and also how they were how whoever was in their ear, because
Exactly.
because even when you came through me, I had you as on-camera host, but I saw you as talent. But also I understood that you were what's the word, enterprising, and I think that's probably what these entrepreneurs saw. They saw you are enterprising and that you could help them move their chess pieces forward faster.
And they did give me an opportunity to do that. I did have it wasn't like, oh, here comes so-and-so's piece of ass. Let's let her sit here and be cute. Mm-hmm. The questions were directed to me. I was expected to figure out and book the studios and get the decks and find the sequencer and get the credits in and sell the song. I got stuck one day. Couldn't find anybody. We had a showing with Blue Stylist by conference. He wanted to hear the latest tracks from the new version of New Edition, which was called BBD. I've been in the studio with him 30 days. Nobody gave me the decks. I didn't have the lyrics. I had, for some reason, made a copy so I could live with the music, as we call it, so I could sell it. And I ended up playing that for Little Stylist in a room full of execs. It was a terrible presentation, totally unprofessional. The audio was so poor, I ended up singing some of Poison. Tell me when I will see you smile again. Let me know something. We did 4 tracks for that CD. And my heart was racing. I knew I was going to get fired. Inappropriate, out of line. I should have stalled. I didn't know what I was talking about. I couldn't go to sleep. They picked up every track. And to this day, Ronnie Hooks, who wrote all those tracks, we still stay in contact, and he's got his gold records hanging on the wall. So, like I said, I'm going to go get mine now that I'm talking with you about it. The other day he was telling me, you changed the game in terms of hip-hop, whereas all the chicks were wearing the backwards jeans and the fade cuts and the big hoop earrings and the gold caps, ring on every finger, baseball jacket. And you came in there complete opposite. Long hair, flowing, full face of makeup, stilettos, a diamond. You glossed it up. He said that's when we started looking for the Aaliyahs and the Beyoncés and the Terry Hilsons. We love the girls to rap, but we don't want them to be guys. And I had never been told that before. Mm. I did get tricked. I don't go up with one egg in a basket. As I said, I had $50 in my pocket, but I knew Bob was a good guy. Arista Records, Yale, Columbia. Law school graduate, Haitian family. It was already arranged. I had to stay on the first floor with his mother and father, and he stayed on the 3rd floor, and that was the rule. It was a brownstone in Brooklyn.
Right. I think I dropped you off there one day.
The nice part, yeah, when it came up, thank God. At the same time, I made a hookup with a group called Surface.
Right, I remember.
A woman heard me sing in a bathroom at Uno Pizzeria. Todd Johnson owned it, rest his soul. And she said, you can really sing. I got a friend who's in CBS Records, and, I'll hook you up. And I thought, okay, maybe. But I'll go ahead and count on that. He invited me to shoot the video. I think it was Shower Me With Your Love, I think. I came there green, dressed in a suit. Everybody else was in hoe dresses. Carrying this big piece of luggage to bring a variety of clothes and shoes, some cornball Midwest hairstyle. And the whole room stopped and looked at me, and one of the guys said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I was told by Pick Conley that when I moved to New York, he'd help me get a record deal and, you know, be here for the video." And the whole group busted out laughing. And I just stood there. Wow. And they said, "No, we don't think we'll need your help." Thank you. And I started to leave and figure out how many trains did I take to get here? How did I get back to Brooklyn? And this girl came out, I remember her, Karen, and she said, "They were just being rude. They were kidding. You're a pretty girl. Come back in here. Let me talk to you." No, he didn't mean that. He's just like that. I ended up going home and with her and him, and we all stayed up all night. They found that I could sing, I could work some equipment. Ended up working on Don't Take It Personal with Jermaine Jackson.
Oh, wow.
That they produced, and some other tracks that they produced. And then I started hanging out with Jazzy Jeff and met a lot of people that way. Of course, met Will, and then I worked on Self-Destruction, the video, and we did a concert, which is how I became close with Puffy. We did the Self-Destruction concert in Harlem. So and it was over 1 million people, undoubtedly.
Yeah, I remember that. Is that how you came to? I mean, because you probably crossed paths with Sean Combs on occasion, known or unknown. But how did you come to work in the same environment as him? Like, how did you end up working? Was it Bad Boy offices?
Bob Celestin, that I moved in with, his parents on the first floor. He was the GM attorney for Uptown Records. He hired everybody. He signed everybody. Nothing moved without him. It was an upstart. As a matter of fact, it was a running joke. He came out of law school making $100,000 with Arista working with Whitney, and he quit that to make $40,000 with Andre Harrell and start Uptown. So, like I said, within 48 hours, I was at a party, becoming chummy with Al B. Sure. He was the thing at the time. I was there chit-chatting with Babyface and L.A. Reid and meeting Andre Harrell and Salt and Pepper, and anybody who was anybody was there. Cristal, popping everything, finger foods, whatever you want is there. I felt out of place. I knew nobody, but that night I made a lot of friends from Uptown, and I made a lot of people. It's a small brown group of people that really are making things pop and making decisions, and who's deciding who's in front of the camera and who's in front of the mic. And I was in that circle automatically. That's when Puffy started calling. Al called a couple of times, but his hands were full. There were others, but Bob was Bob Celestin again. He had his rules before he even got to Public Enemy. And this was after Surface. His thing was no. Absolutely, unequivocally, hell fuck no not. And you tell him that if he calls here again, that it's not to fucking call here again. If he doesn't listen to you, I'm getting in his ass. I mean, he was adamant about it.
So Bob Celeste was somewhat of a protector.
I was not to have lunch. I was not to go to his house. I was not to help him with this concert. I was not to meet him at any party. I was not to have any interaction specifically with Puffy. So,
but at the same time that Puff was sort of courting or trying to court you, for whatever reason, whether it was, do you feel like there were a number of them, of course. Do you feel that there were gray lines that were always crossed, like they would use their personality, their influence, their position to get you in the office or to get you in a conversation, to get you on the phone, and those gray lines were sort of erased, like, catty and more like, oh, are you seeing anybody, or you want to hang out? Do you know what I mean? Does those is it graying? Is that the graying of entertainment and relationships there?
Yes, definitely. But I will say it depends on the caliber of the female. As soon as with any animal, they sense your desperation, they pounce on that.
Mm.
You know, what are you willing to do? Let me see that.
Mm.
So, for me, having, being insulated, mine was more, meet me at my executive office. Oh, I didn't tell you I was driving a Jag. Look what I picked up for you today, a Chanel purse. Pick any restaurant in the city and we'll go there. It was that kind of courting.
Mm.
I'll put you on this contract. I'll put you on this project versus trying to take me out to dinner and just calling me and telling me I'm cute. That wasn't going to work with me.
Right.
Since I was already in.
That's the typical way. That you weren't typical. Right.
Right. Yeah. They'll take them clothes shopping. They'll let them drive their car, feel important. They'll pay their cell phone. They might put $500 in their hand in front of their friend. Maybe take them on a cruise while their wife is pregnant. Make them feel important.
Mm.
There's a lot of herpes.
Wow.
When I would use that start out as one of my excuses to a man, if I felt like, raise up. I already told you, I'm not interested. You're not even thinking about pregnancy, or you're not thinking about herpes. And I remember being laughed at, literally, herpes. There's medicine for herpes. That's what they would tell me.
Mm.
And I said, but what if the medicine doesn't work? What if it's a new strain, or you're nasty?
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of abortions going around, a lot of herpes going around. I can remember a couple of the rappers I knew, panicking because they couldn't urinate.
Mm.
Just with the wrong girl. I had a female friend. She was trying to get on, and just, as far as women go, she was attractive, but
some people have the discipline and others don't.
Yeah, and she got kind of aggressive and got with this this executive male I knew, and she called me, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks later and asked me, how do you know if you have an infection?
Oh, wow.
Started with, she'd been coughing up stuff that wasn't the right color.
Oh, wow.
And the other end wasn't the right color. And when I told her, you've got VD, it sounds like gonorrhea, she got mad at me. Because the fear was I would repeat it. And she ended up going to the hospital for weeks, taking shots. So, you just, I was lucky I was insulated.
Yeah, so you had people that were older, that were knowledgeable, they were trying to protect you, and you saw...
Oh, they yelled at me. Mm-hmm. They talked to me like I was a child, more than once. Didn't you know what he really meant? Mm-hmm.
And so you were... So even before you, got into the situation with Sean, and we'll get to that, but you were running into men left and right. So let me ask you, aside from the mentors there, like, cause I haven't heard, do you have children?
Oh no, I never wanted a baby. I didn't want to get in the way of my entertainment aspirations. It wouldn't be fair.
What is it about you what is that discipline about you that stopped you from getting caught up in those situations?
I've just heard that it's a discipline thing from men the last 10 or 15 years. I didn't know it was discipline that kept you from having a baby. I didn't know that. I guess to a degree, I can see what you mean. But as far as women saying some clock's ticking, no clock ever ticked. God forgot to put it in me. I never thought it was cute to dress up anybody's baby and keep it overnight. From a mature perspective, I was going to be stuck with that man. And to me, I could not allow you, the man, to fall under any condition. So that meant my life was over. I'm taking care of this infant, and I got to make sure you're good. So I can't have a child saying, Mommy, what's wrong with Daddy? Well, Daddy's just a loser. That wasn't an option. And I always said, just to make sure, if hey, this is business. This is my life. In the event I do come up pregnant, I want to make sure it's somebody who can take care of me and this child until I can take care of myself. So in college, I was dating Michael Jordan.
Wow.
I was dating Denver Broncos. I was dating, Denver Nuggets, Dominique Wilkins. I wasn't playing around.
So wait a minute. You said Denver a lot, and you were in Colorado. Was that also a geographic thing?
Yeah. I just happened to be in college in Colorado, and a friend of mine said, have you heard of Michael Jordan? He said, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, I wasn't really paying attention to sports, total entertainment. And she said she'd give me $10 if I would drive her to the hotel that she had called him and had arranged to meet him. And $10, wow, that's gas. I'm between shows, great. So I drove her down in my Audi, and she was scared and had me come to the door. I said, what's the big deal? I'm just going to turn around and walk away. And he opened the door, and he looked at her, and then he looked at me, and I said, nice to meet you, and she told me who she was, and I went to walk out. He said, hey, where do you think you're going? And I said, well, he said, what? Quit whispering. And I was embarrassed for her. She was already in the room. I said, look, I was just a ride. And I didn't mean to get in the way.
So when you say date, are you talking about like 1 or 2 times out to dinner? What does that look like?
Oh, no, this went on for like a year or so.
With you and Michael Jordan?
Yeah, whenever he was in town, he would
call.
I would, drop his stuff off at my dry cleaner. I'd arrange for him to get haircuts or come pick him up, take him out to eat, whatever. He was just bored. This was his first year.
But that was entirely different from being
entertainment.
In entertainment. I get the idea that he's a little bit more responsible, but also and getting into the situation in entertainment, that a date, so to speak, with Michael Jordan is a whole lot different than being in an office with Sean.
Absolutely. He was a total gentleman. We used to rap and sing and chase each other through the hotel. When he first got with the Bulls, he was green. He was excited. He was, wide open. He was loving the fandom. But it got to a point, I would be walking I remember one time I said, I'll stop by and pick up your dry cleaning. It was the uniforms for that night. I was walking through the lobby and got mobbed. I had to have security. Just to take me to his room because I was carrying his uniform.
Wow.
And then after that, I started noticing, I would come with friends. They knew who he was. It was a big deal to my guy friends. It was a big deal for them to meet him. So one was in medical school, and he said, you taking everybody else to meet him? And I said, okay, fine. We got to the door, and I just talked to Mike, and I said, no, he's in there. We get downstairs, and I called the room. He answered the phone, and I said, boy, what are you doing? He said, there's a guy with you. I'm like, what is... He started to change because he started to get death threats, kidnapping threats. And then he had to become more cautious. That's all.
Wow. So So now I get it in the ins and outs of entertainment. By the way, those Michael Jordan years, they were what, in your late teens, early, like,
Yeah.
okay. So you eventually got to New York, even as you were, doing the single woman thing in Colorado.
Modeling, radio commercials, talent shows, producing concerts. Yeah, I wanted to do it. Like Bob said, you've hit a wall.
Gotcha.
You know, I just think you would do better. There would be more opportunity. You're so hungry. You're so bright. Anything I tell you, I'm just not worried about you representing me, and you would be representing me and my family.
So you
and he flew to Denver, met with my family, and he said, "Okay, I see what you come from. I'm not even worried about it."
Wow.
The day, the morning I got up after I landed, he said, "Here's $100 in 20s." Gave me a fistful of subway tokens. He said, "Here's a map, my business card. I don't want to hear from your ass unless it's an emergency.
Wow.
Love you."
Wow. And now you were in New York amongst the predators.
And he walked out. And I remember it was raining, and I got my shoes together, and his mother said, "Oh my God." She spoke fluent French. She said, no, wait, Angie. She put on her little raincoat she'd been wearing for 70 years, put on a bonnet, got an umbrella. I will never forget Marguerite Celestin to this day. She went to 4 job interviews with me, train after train, to make sure. She said, "You were too green," came out of her mouth.
Wow.
"My baby, he is stupid. He cannot let you go. They will eat you alive."
Wow.
8 hours that woman went with me. Walked me, by my hand, to get a gig.
And then did she also live in Brooklyn, or?
She did. She's passed away a few years ago, 98. She was from Haiti.
Wow. So
they came to New York and bought a brownstone where you picked me up, Carlton Ave, Park Slope, for $23,000, I think. Today it's worth $53 million.
Holy moly!
She opened a laundromat and she opened a dry cleaner, and she put all 4 of her kids through Ivy League. So these were she's one of my mentors.
Wow.
I learned from more mature women. You know, she would sit me down and say, "Bobby said last night the men were all over you." And I would say, "Yes, ma'am, blah, blah, blah. Which one did you like?" And she said, "Really, I'm talking about getting this job, and I was looking at this apartment, and gee, you stay here first for a while." I said, "Okay." And she said, "As far as the men," I said, "What?" She said, "You are not interested. You are focused. I'm not worried." She knew I was there to get my grind on.
Right.
Work-wise. I wasn't there to get married.
Right.
I did not leave my parents' house to get a boyfriend, go to college, get pregnant, get a white picket fence. I don't even think that's real. It's never been a reality for me. At this point in my life, I thought I would be taking my friends to the ski resort, getting my friends go horseback riding, let's take a cruise, do some adventurous things. I kept myself in shape on purpose. I was careful about what I ate from day one. Stopped eating meat a minute ago. And now there is no meat, and we're not even sure what that is. And it's making people sick. And they're giving it paraquat. That's what's in Roundup.
So I get it.
I worked out. I followed my mother's. She would sit and watch me eat like a half a gallon of homemade ice cream. I learned how to make it so I could eat as much as I want. And instead of chiding me, and I was grown, 26 maybe, she would giggle, and I would look over and put the spoon down and put the lid on it and say, "Go ahead," because I respected her. She said, "This is what you're doing to yourself. This is what you're going to regret later. And if you want to keep doing what you're doing now, you're going to put that spoon down," because I rarely ever see any women that are corpulent with a pretty face on TV. Yes, ma'am. And that was the end of that.
So the woman who looked over you when you initially got to New York, what was her name again?
Marguerite Celestin. She and my mother talked often.
So Margie took you in. Marguerite took you in immediately once you pretty much got here. You didn't even.
My mother talked. Mm-hmm. Bob had flown to Colorado and met them. I don't know how. It was more than once that she and my mother talked.
Okay.
Because she had rules about what type of girls could even visit her house, let alone stay. And no woman had been allowed to stay in her home.
Gotcha.
And I slept on the other side of the wall from her and her husband.
Wow, gotcha.
So if I moved, they knew it.
So you're moving around in New York. You're trying to be resourceful with your time and your talents, and you end up doing like little video gigs and stuff like that. And so then you end up working on the self-destruction. Was it you said?
Self-destruction concert.
And of course,
are
you talking about the music video?
The music video, and then we actually did a concert. It's online now. Somebody loaded it up, and I should probably put some pictures up. We had out posters. We expected, a change because we were socially conscious, every last one of us. Mm-hmm.
And then, so you said Puffy was
voluntary.
Sean was there as well.
Yeah, let me think. I actually got offered to help out on the Mayor David Dinkins campaign. Uh-huh. And as a result, I met, I want to say George Rogers, who handled SWV. Uh-huh. And he asked me to come and write for them. But at the time, the self-destruction video, they were putting it together in the concert. So the first video set I was on was self-destruction. And then I began working with them, having meetings. A lot of us would show up, maybe 12 or 15, planning this concert in Harlem.
Gotcha. So did that first that work environment that you ran into Sean in, was that in the Bad Boys offices?
That was at the parties initially.
Oh, so wait a minute. So when you initially met him, it was at the parties.
Maybe 48 hours after I landed.
Okay, and then you ended up at the office. Which office was that where you had the incident with Sean?
That was at Uptown.
Uptown,
Bob
okay.
worked at Uptown, so occasionally, a couple of times a week,
gotcha.
I would come past him and he would say, well, I want to know what you did today. Who did you meet? Okay, ditch that loser. Who else did you talk to? No, you're not going to that agency. They're full of shit. What time are you coming home? Did you eat today? Who's that talking to you outside the office? Puffy, tell me to get the fuck out of here. Come on, let me walk you to the door. See you tonight.
And that was, what was that, Bob's last again?
CELESTIN.
TELES.
C as in cat. ELESTIN.
Bob Celestin. Okay, that sounds familiar. Okay, cool. So
anybody you can think of, an amigo.
No, I get it. So the Uptown at the time, if I'm not, what would you say was the year that this?
It was brand new.
No, your year, the year that you remember.
I got to New York in 87, 88.
So that was 87, 88. Bad Boy hadn't really popped off yet. So Puffy was still going through his growth at Uptown underneath Andre Harrell. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
correct.
Great. So you're in that environment. I can see it. I think Uptown was really in MCA's building, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, Broadway?
I can't remember that. I have to go through my memory bank. But also, in those circles were like the Aaron Halls and the Boys to Men.
I did a video with Aaron Hall and 1,000 Heavy D.
Right. And then the Boys to Men, they were in that circle too, right?
Yeah. Jack Swing.
Father MC. Father MC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Father MC was just as sweet. He spent the night over. Had no issues.
Right.
None.
And and so
Patrick,
these are young, and Jodeci, of course, and these were young men who sowing their wild oats. Huh?
Yes, a fame. They were on Arsenio Hall calling me, and did you see us? Did we do good? You know, they were just young. They didn't know how bad they were.
Right.
No clue.
Right.
I told them you are going to change music. As a matter of fact, I used to.
Are you talking about Jodeci?
Yeah, Casey. He would say, "You ready?" And I'd say, "I'm ready." I'm still waiting. You better sing, boy.
So you probably ran into Charlucci also.
Anybody that
Charlucci used to run around with Jodeci. And also, there's another name I want to. There's another name that is popping up in my head. But okay, all right, cool. So I get it. So I get your.
I went to the apartment in the Bronx, but they didn't have anybody over there.
Right. I think at the time they were blowing up, but they didn't have the big mansion in Jersey yet. I don't think so.
No, because I was buying them food. They were so hungry. They really were pathetic.
Per diem.
They weren't even getting that. Andre told them that they had to go get a job as a security guard, which is a joke.
Wow.
You know, which said he weighed about 92 pounds. JoJo said, "Fuck that shit. Soon as they turn on the lights and the mic, I'll be there." He wouldn't even come. So I said, "You can't starve." It was a hood. Guns were going off. Somebody had blown the light bulb out, so they had cages over the light bulbs in the hallway.
Right.
They were scared to death. I gave them clothes, shoes, potatoes, chicken, whatever I could get my hands on to try and help out. That's why they were spending the night.
So
they didn't want to be up there.
So you're in the office over at Uptown. You're doing, again, you're being resourceful. Whoever needs Angela,
Now, wait a minute. Not at Uptown. I only visit. I was temping.
Okay.
And then at night, I was working with Public Enemy. I just didn't know who Public Enemy was.
So when I'm thinking Hank Shockley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I didn't know who he was.
Gotcha.
I was at Tavern on the Green with Jeff Red.
Right.
And Jazzy Jeff. Now, I did go out with him quite a few times. I like Jeff a lot. But,
I know. I dropped you off at the hotel in Times Square to I think I got a little sight of him, but I kind of brought you to the door.
You did. Then we all got in a wrestling match because of Will's ass. Oh, that's another story. Anyway, yes. And sweet as pie. But Hank was there with Keith, with the bomb squad is what they were called.
Right.
And
so are you saying they were in the same building, in the Uptown building?
At the Tavern on the Green.
Oh.
And I had always dreamed since I was 5, I'm going to that damn Tavern on the Green.
I know, right?
I didn't know it wasn't going to be as hot, but in my black and white movies it was. And I just couldn't believe I was in the room. And, Jeff asked me to dance, Jeff Red, and I just thought he was so handsome I couldn't dance.
Right.
I stepped on his shoes so many times, I thought he was going to tell me to get lost. And I went to hold up the wall, and Hank said something, and then Keith said something. They do let you come here by yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then who do you know? Bob Celestin. I'm going to call him tomorrow. And he did. And then the next thing I know, he called me about 1 a.m. I was in Bushwick at my cousin's house. Oh, my God. Another story.
When you said he called you, who?
Hank called me.
Oh, okay.
And said, I got this project, and I want to know, do you want to work on it? You said you could sing. Bob says you can sing.
And that's is that how you ended up at the Uptown offices?
No, I was going in and out of Uptown visiting Bob.
Okay.
But
I got you.
I never worked at Uptown.
I get it.
Soul,
I get it.
Which was, yeah. So during this time, I was temping, and instead of temping, Hank and Public Enemy started paying me to come to the studio and do what I started doing, getting those credits together. getting clearances, making the notes, booking the studio time. And then after a minute, Hank said, "Come here, I got something to show you. I'm going to pick you up after your temp job." Raining Cats and Dogs picked me up in his little Toyota, drove me to, I think it was 594 Broadway, Broadway in Houston, doing new construction on this business. I said, "Oh, you got a job?" Seriously, I didn't know who he was. He always wore jeans. He always had on a baseball jacket and a t-shirt and a baseball cap. I thought maybe he was a runner trying to get on in music. Maybe he knew how to work an instrument or something. We would just go bowling, race cars, go to the movies. I did ask him, "How do you get in these industry parties?" He said, "I knew the guy who let me in." "Oh, okay." So we walk upstairs to the office on the 3rd floor, and I said, "What is this? Do you have permission to be here?" Because it was still being painted and stuff was on the floor. And he walked over to the door to the right, and he said, "Look at that." And it said, "Angela Goude." He said, "This is your office. You're now executive of Soul MCA Records. Be here at 9.
Wow. So,
I can't do 9. 11. He said, "Okay, 11.
11 a.m.? 11 a.m.?
Yeah, but I didn't really have hours, but it was to make it look good. I did have stuff that I could do. I listened to artists. I critiqued tapes. I had to write reports. I had to deal with MCA, the dads, the masters, book the studios, find musicians, blah, blah, blah. But my real work was in the studio, listening. If a key was off, then Hank would say, "Angela, hit that key," and I would hit that key. "Angela, we left the contracts. You're the only one who knows where they're at. Then take the car and go uptown, get the contracts, and be back." So I got in where I could fit in, and I could explain this business of music.
No, I get it. You were being resourceful. No, 100%.
Absolutely.
Did you happen to run into Drew Dixon back in those days?
Drew Dixon, yes. And it's true.
So here you are in the Uptown offices. So Puffy's in there. He has his own office, I'm guessing.
The time I recall, Bob, we were going, I can't remember, somewhere to another meeting.
Okay.
And Bob says, "Wait out here in the hallway for a second." And, Hev and I hugged and kissed, and Father came by, Nelson George was there. Everybody was just in and out. Salt and Pepper was there, Father, whoever. And Puff was pulling on my left sleeve. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Finishing my conversation. And he said, "Wait a minute, I just want to talk to you a second. D Nice, he was such a sweetie." D said, "You good?" I said, yeah, I'm good." I said, "What's up, Puff?" And he said, "It's me." And, trying to back him into the room. It was a huge desk and some non-matching chairs, but at least he had chairs.
Okay, so hold on. He said it's me?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he's kind of tugging you into a office from in the hallway, yes?
Yes, to try, like you're talking to all the somebodies.
Right.
Come talk to me.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I've been calling you, and I said, "Yeah, look, you're gonna get me in trouble because I am staying with Bob. So you can't get phone calls? I don't pay the phone bill. He pays the phone bill. He's doing me a favor. What, you fucking him? Don't tell him I asked. You fucking him?" I said, "I'm getting ready to, start to turn towards the door." He said, "No, what's the deal? Why won't you go out with me? I'll take you wherever you want to go. I got money. I produce shows. Bob said you're a producer." I said, "Yeah, I produce concerts." "Well, I need help." Seriously, I need help. So I would have been one of the business bitches. Doing that promoting. He would have had those deaths. Because I don't know how many concerts I've done. Nobody's ever got murdered. And all of mine were major.
Mm-hmm.
So
So at this point, is your back still towards the door, or had he worked it so now that he's closer to the door and you'd have to go through him? What did that look
he
like?
tried to get me to come around that massive desk. The room was, and I'm not dogging him because he had an office. He hustled that. But the room was like Bob said, it was a former janitorial.
Okay.
So it wasn't very big. You had to slide sideways to get past the desk to get around it. More space back there because there was a second exit to the fire well or whatever. So, no, I kept my back to the door. I didn't come in any more than a foot or two. I touched the chair and thought about sitting down, and I changed my mind and looked back at the door because I couldn't see Bob and I didn't hear him. And I thought, well, this is good. This is cute, you know. You start out here, and he did his little sales pitch. Again, I'm just trying to see you. I'll come pick you up. You want me to send a car? I said, no, that's not it. You know. Well, what don't you like? Listen, I'm staying with the man. He's paying the lights, the water. He said no. Now, when I get out of his house, tell him whatever I need to tell him, right? I'm getting ready to move. When I get out, I'll call you. He comes back around the desk and said, wait a minute. I'm just trying to say something, licking those lips. I always had spit right there in the middle. Reaching out, getting my wrist. I said, no, wait a minute. Trying to shut the door. You know, I tried to stick my right heel in there. No, wait a minute now, He said, wait a minute, just wait a minute, getting real close. I mean, he was within 2 inches of my face. The door was still open. Somebody said, Angela. I hit my left elbow trying to pull it open and backed out. And they said, you good? He said, no, she good. They said, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm good. No, it was me.
Who was it that called? Who was it that called out your name?
It was a couple of guys.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of their name right off the top of my head. He used to come over all the time. Big, thick guy. Ain't nothing like...
Not Tuffy. Not Tuffy.
No, not tough then. I don't think it was tough. Oh, gosh. I can't... Let me look it up. I can.
But just you're saying just numerous people were in the offices, in and out, just
up and down the hallway.
Right.
Back were constant.
Right. Exactly. And but you were able to leverage your weight so that you could squeeze out of the door.
Yeah, hit with the left elbow and just backed out with my hands up.
So.
And you all right? You good? Yeah. No, it's my fault. No, I'm good.
So before the incident, what was your perception of Sean Combs, given his prominence in the industry? And then after that incident, what were your thoughts?
Now, here's the problem. If I never heard of Public Enemy or Niggas with Attitude, I definitely never heard of Puffy.
Right.
I had no idea who he was other than what Bob had told me.
Gotcha.
And then, Bob may have said, tell her about Puffy to another guy. So I would know that he wasn't cop blocking. And then the other guy confirmed, he ain't shit. He ain't gonna be shit. What he's gonna do is use you to get what he wants. Your mind's too smart. Why would you want that? He can't help you.
Gotcha. I got you. So your perception of him afterwards, well, like you said, beforehand, you really didn't know him, but after, when I say perception, I mean, you see he keeps growing, he keeps producing, he keeps creating. How do you see him even, being on TV, this, that, and third? how do you see it? Is there a bad taste in your mouth? Are you happy that you escaped that situation? By the way, do you happen to feel that he could have been an asset in your growth versus you turning him down and never seeing him again?
I don't think he would have been an asset.
Okay.
I always have the James Brown mentality. Just open the door and I'll get it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come there for anybody to give me anything. I thought I would earn it.
That's funny.
Yeah,
it sounds like a Fonnie Willis line, but go ahead.
Yeah, that was real funny. But it was an experience I would not trade. I never got robbed. I never got raped. I had a limousine to take me to and from. I got in any industry party I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I had leverage. I had pull. Before I left, I was offered a percentage of the record label, which would have been, in retrospect, like every other black-brown label. They were only intended to fail as a write-off. It wasn't for real because nobody had international distribution.
Okay, but
so we didn't control anything.
So I guess what I'm saying is like so I understand. Did you leave the office at that moment?
Did I leave Soul?
No, Uptown.
Uptown. I got with Bob. He said, "You ready to go? Who are you talking to? What'd he say to you? Who else? Anybody touch you? What were you doing in Puppy's office?" I said, I wasn't. Got ready to explain. He said, "So see, you're not listening. Come on, I'm going to take you to lunch. Don't you ever go back in there again."
Gotcha.
I said, "Well, the door was open. My hand was on the knob." He said, "See, you're just not listening." So from that point on, if the phone rang, he said, "Angie," I would just hang up.
So basically, you didn't get yourself in any situation like that ever again, pretty much.
Never, because
Gotcha.
I went straight to work for
Gotcha.
Soul, MCA Public Enemy. That's their record label, and I was plenty busy.
Gotcha. So are you saying you just kind of brushed it off?
No, definitely not brushed it off. That's the first person that tried to back me in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard voices, but then I wasn't following instructions, was I?
Right. So essentially, you kind of felt like at fault a little bit,
Yes,
like that guilt thing that they keep talking about.
Absolutely. I'm not going to admit it because I put myself in that situation.
Okay. Wow. That's heavy duty right there. That's heavy duty. That there. Wow.
You got to swallow it.
Gotcha. So So when you see all of these other incidents with people, especially the women, Cassie, there's a number of others now that have either been attacked or have alleged attacks. What are your feelings? Like, do you feel you dodged a bullet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I said to someone the other day, maybe I didn't want it that badly. Not to let you do me any kind of way. Keep that.
Right.
Not take that. Yeah, take that. I don't need that.
Right.
What's left of me later? Mentally, from the bangs to the head, that's a real thing. I've seen girls come out with their face swollen that we're filming videos.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, do you know how pretty you are?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what my mother told me. There's a plane, train, or bus leaving every few minutes. Be on one.
Mm.
You're not going to look like anything for anybody to want to hire. You know, there wasn't that, not for me, there wasn't that pressure to, oh, you got to suck to get on this video set. There was one man that I worked with in particular, and he's still working, and I can see his face, and I can't think of his name, but he did most of the videos back then, and he would call me. It was just straight up business. But like I said, nobody got paid. I was using my own clothes, makeup, hair, transportation, laying the foundation, laying the groundwork, telling them, no, this is the way the girl should move. No, your camera should be here looking at this. Whether I was on TRL or BET or whatever, helping them form the foundation for later.
You're not talking about Ralph McDaniels?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's always been a stand-up guy.
Look at whatever he worked on, 88, 87, 88, 89, he put me on. Total gentleman.
Yeah.
If he wasn't, he fooled me.
No, Ralph was definitely, he's been stand-up to this day. Yeah, for sure. So, so who did you talk to? I mean, if you felt some kind of way about this situation, and I know Bob talked to you and you really didn't go into it. Who was like the woman that a friend or a family member that you confided in when this happened?
I was assigned Camille Lord.
When you say assigned, what do you mean assigned?
Well, how should I put it? I thought, okay, I'm at St. Nell's on the third floor, and here's this female again, and she's so nice, and she's given me her number. She said, let's have tea tomorrow. Okay, great. New friend.
Oh.
So, then maybe she tells me the best place to get my nails done, or where I should get my hair done, and then go with me. And I noticed nobody was paying. You know, we got a taxi, fine, or else she said, Ange, you don't mind if we take your car, meaning my car service. I didn't have a car. So my limo would take us wherever, and I thought, okay, that's fine. At least I got a girlfriend, and it's not like I have to pay for this limousine. But somebody slipped up and said that she was told to hang with me.
Oh, Camille Lord, you said?
Yeah, keep an eye on me. She lives in Los Angeles now.
Wow. And so when you say somebody, you feel like he went too far, he realized he went too far, or somebody else realized he went too far, and maybe you needed some TLC.
Yes. Tell her what to wear. Because I remember, you know, she never said anything about my hair, and then when we go to the salon that Buzz Willis was trying to manage me, and he told me to just show up, and I told her, well, come on. Of course I'm going to take my girl, get her hair fixed, too. And then she told the woman how to fix my hair. Then the dresses weren't right, and where I need to go to get the dresses. And that's the wrong color polish. This color polish you should be wearing. And this is how you stand. And this is where you stand.
Is she a black woman or a white woman?
Yeah, black, Howard. Don't speak to him. He's no one. He has nothing going on. She let me know.
Right.
She works for CBS.
Oh, okay. Wow. So how long?
She's older than me.
Right. How long did you hang out with her, or was it just enough time till you could forget about what happened?
addicted to her because she was motherly.
Aw.
And she was giving me good advice. Whoever she told me, lose her, drop them. Or I think there was one guy she saw me talk to twice. And she said, what did I tell you about talking to him? And I said, well, he's cute, and he just wants to go for a sandwich. She said, oh, okay. And next morning at, 8 a.m., Bob's calling me at the house saying, what were you doing talking to that nigga last night?
She's pretty. She's been doing weather and whatnot. I don't know what she's doing now, but she looks like she's an anchor at NBC in D.C.
She sings, too.
She sings, too? Oh, wow.
So she ratted on me.
Oh, Camille?
Well, yeah, because how would Bob have known I'd spoken to that guy twice?
When you say that guy, you talking about Puffy or some other guy?
Somebody else.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And then a separate situation when I first started kicking it with Hank, it wasn't a date thing. He would say, hey, you got your temp job? What time you get off? Well, meet me at so-and-so. I'd never heard of so-and-so, but it turned out to be the place to be. And he introduced me around the room. Or he'd say, are you hungry? Of course I was hungry. That or I was going to go home and boil a turkey wing and eat a small potato. That was my usual. So he took me wherever I wanted to go. Or, why are you wearing those shoes? And I said, they're the shoes I have. Man. He took me to where I needed to go to get $200 shoes for $75. And he said, don't worry about it, man. Because I'm going to put you to work tonight writing those credits. Okay, so cool. So one day she calls me and she says, Ange, how are you? I said, good. Are you at home? I see. Yeah. Who are you walking with today? All day? Different people. Approximately 4:13 p.m. You're on the northwest corner of Broadway and Houston. Who are you walking with? And I said, who am I walking? You mean Hank? Hank who?
Calling relentless.
Shockley? And who is Hank Shockley? I said, what's going on? Well, number one, he's married. Number two, he's only the major thing happening in the world of music right now. He's in the New York Times as the Renaissance man. Now, you're playing like you don't have any money. You're playing like you're looking for a place to live. You're playing like those are the only clothes you got. You got to let Buzz Willis manage you. You can get all these places. How do you know him? I didn't know it was a big deal. I said, look, he's trying to get on. Probably stays in his mom's basement. She said, you think so? Yeah, he lives way out. He doesn't have a car. She said, oh, get your fucking clothes on. Meet me at the corner. And then she hit me.
Camille did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I don't understand how, wow. I mean, hit like in the face?
She hipped me to who he was.
Oh, hipped you. Okay, I thought you said hit. Okay.
What position I was in.
Oh, wow.
And what I was doing and what I needed to do.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And who I was that
right.
I didn't know. She said, see, you're listening to them tell you you're green from the Midwest, and that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who else has got Jermaine Jackson inviting them to their record release. Right. I don't know who else gets to walk into Green Street Recording Studio without a pass. Mm-hmm. I don't know who else gets to go into MCA, RCA, CBS, Electra, Arista without getting buzzed in.
Right.
Who are you?
Right.
Okay, well, tell me your story. How'd you meet Bob then? I can't even get him to return my phone call. So that's how she took the mission.
Oh, wow. Wow. Whew. So how long did that relationship last with you and Camille?
We still communicate.
Oh, cool. That's good. So you're not in bad terms. Okay.
No, I stayed with her for a little bit.
But she knew.
I got my own stuff.
But she was in the same circles as you. Yes.
Yes.
And she was.
But
Was she also?
She wasn't an executive. She was trying to get on.
Was she also in that office at the same time?
She came up to my office to visit. Sure.
No, I mean that particular day.
She may have been. I have to ask her. She may have been.
Have you talked about this
I was with her every day.
Have you talked about this with her?
Oh, it's been a minute. She texted me about 2 months ago and said, I hope I don't see you on TV.
Oh, wow. So she's definitely familiar. Okay, crap. That's crazy.
I hope I don't see you on TV.
So, how has this experience impacted your personal and professional life in the long term? I mean, was it a very small thing that you brushed off, or is it something that lingers in your mind?
Puff, had sent messages through mutual acquaintances. I wouldn't call them friends.
Mm.
Maybe one I would call a friend. He was one of the bodyguards. And he said, Puff's on you, Puff's on you.
So he's still pursuing you?
He was for some time. I mean, I was doing international work in 95 when I got one of those messages.
Wow.
I said, I'm good. He said, you should give him a call. But, when I mentioned it to Bob, he said it'll be a mistake and I'll block it. Same thing, a friend of mine, another Bob type. I said, I need to get a hold of Donald. And he said, what? I said, oh no, I got a bad vibe about Devontae. You're up there, I'm in LA. Tell him to call me or when he gets here. Dalvin had spent the night at my house and we had talked.
Right.
And I don't know, I just had a vibe and I said, tell Donald to call me, or Devontae. And he said, this friend said, you're doing good. We proud of you. We got you. No. This man, I need to ask him first. I need to go back and check my notes.
Is Bob still alive?
Bob is alive, but this guy who told me, no, I won't get you in touch with Devontae.
Oh.
We got you. You good. You don't need to talk to him.
Oh, okay.
But I was trying to say it's more a vibe. My mother was born in North Carolina, so was her father. Their folk were born in North Carolina. I know some of their people. And, those are the things we talked about and the things that are distinctive to North Carolina. So, we had a pact at my apartment in East Flatbush. Let's all stand up, hold hands, we're going to make this paper, and we're going to get out of here and run our own thing. Don't let this run us.
Right.
So I'm like, let me talk to him, because it's going to be different. They will remember. They couldn't even call their moms. Harrell wouldn't even give them a phone card. They had to come to Soul Records to call moms. They had to come to my place to get food and get some clothes or an umbrella or something. So let me talk to him. I'm going to be able to talk to him on a different level. But they would not let me talk to him. Later the word got out, about the angel death.
So when you say not able to talk to Puff or Devontae?
Not able to. They would not put me in contact with Devontae.
No
matter who I said.
Oh, okay.
Like, you're doing good. We got you. We got you.
Oh, I got you.
That's not the point. My vibe with Relentless is different from my vibe with you. What he and I talk about that we can relate to together might not mean anything to you, but if he's caught up in something, let me talk to him.
So there might have been some kind of blocking going on, you're saying?
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And then, at that point, Cedric the Entertainer's chasing. And,
you said Cedric the Entertainer. What were you saying?
I ran into him. He was calling. I had never heard of him.
Gotcha.
But I thought he was funny as hell. I thought he was the shit. His live show. Did
you get to work together?
No, just to eat together, party together. But they weren't. I could see he was going to have the same problem that Mike B, who is number one now that Sin had to sit down. Mike B, Cedric the Entertainer.
Right.
You don't see them until you see them live.
Right.
And to me, Cedric was supposed to, he should be standing beside Dave. He should be standing beside Chappelle. It's different.
Right.
And he's appealing to a Southern base, whereas Dave appealed, I could go on and on. And his is a little bit more simplistic, where the average is going to get it. Dave's going to make you think for your joke.
So let me ask you this. Were there any immediate consequences as a result of the, like something that stands out in your mind, immediate consequences as a result of the interaction with Puff?
Yeah, feeling dirty. Feeling now I've got to second guess myself. I thought stepping a foot or two into the door and people in the hallway, but that means nothing. It takes a second to pinch a nipple hard enough to bleed.
Right.
It takes a second to run a hand up through your legs. It takes a second maybe for someone who didn't have the type of mother I had to get a threat and fall for it. Whereas, if he had threatened me, it would have been a different ball game. I would have turned into a man, but instead he tried to be real quick with the hands. Use his body to press against you and immobilize you. No. So after that, even Bob was like, you acting different. Something happened? No. It just means I've got to have backup.
Is there anything, looking back, is there anything you wish you had done a little different?
Yeah, for Cassie, for Red, whoever, if I had taken my foot and planted it in his breastbone and then jumped on top of him and punched him until blood came from his nose, none of this would have happened. I
Angie the hero.
Think about that.
Huh?
I think about that because there have been, let's say, other entertainers, names you would know, that did try something like that. And instead of me backing out of the room and looking afraid and letting them know he got me, hate that. And I'll never get rid of that. Violate it? No, it's more like, you got me. It's like a brother thing. You don't want to think somebody got you.
Right.
Don't you? Okay, it's more like a brother thing. Okay, so that always, there's no way to erase, redo.
Or undo.
Undo it. So it's always in my mind, he got me. He got me. He got me. So when it came time again, this man ran his hands up. He's in front of me. And stuck his finger in towards my rectum and pulled forward.
What?
I was dressed. I was in clothes.
Wow.
But what did it imply? And are you supposed to be touching me? I didn't even see it coming. I thought he was reaching over for the velvet rope. So for him to do that, my first response after Puff, I took one step back with my left foot and took my right foot and planted it in his chest.
Wow. And
I jumped up from there and landed on top and just started swinging. Somebody brought me off.
Oh, my God.
No, I've got a witness. Dr. Stevie, if you need his phone number, I'll give it to you. He used to play with Whitney Houston. He had to do the same thing. I ran his recording studio, and he had to keep people off and, do the blocking. It's just, like Bob said to me one time, and maybe this is true, I don't know. He said, Angie, you know what your problem is, and you just need to accept it. And I said, what? He said, it's your pheromones. I said, oh, my God. He said, no, listen, it's your pheromones. You know what that is? I said, something about something. He said, listen.
Your aura.
Men are going to try things with you because of your pheromones. It's touching your breast, touching your ass. You can't go around kicking, slapping, punching everybody. I can't fight everybody. You got to think of another way to handle it.
Wow.
It's your pheromones. It's always going to happen. Plus, your face is asymmetrical.
Wow.
Now, I want you to make a fist.
Wow.
All right? This is the way it is. If you're going to stay in this, I can't follow you around all the time. I can handle puppies. I can handle anybody at Uptown. I can handle anybody, Rough Riders. I can handle any of these others. They got to come to me. But you have to learn to fight for yourself. But I don't want to fight, Relentless. I don't want to fight now. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to come back out. I got a call yesterday. You ready to fly to L.A.? I haven't even returned the phone call. I know what they're calling about. I did a movie, and it got picked up. And they want me to repeat the role. I don't have my team.
Right.
Malik Hart was part of that. I buried him December 22.
Right.
Jalel from Son of Berserk, my first artist on Soul. You gotta listen to the track.
Right.
Buried him in December. I don't have any big brothers.
Right.
My fiance burned up on the 98th floor of the World Trade Center.
Oh, my God.
He was at Soul Records every day, 35, had an accounting degree, and just got accepted to law school. No kids, no pressure, and he had my back. He put me in most of those magazines. He tried to get me on those CD covers. He made sure I got from point A to point B. And they told me they found his pelvic bone and his thigh bone. Julio Herrera, last night a DJ saved my life. He was my boy. He made sure I got to and fro. He would ride me all the way to East Flatbush and then go back up to the Bronx. One time he called me, he said, please tell me you took my wallet. I said, what? He said, tell me you robbed me. I said, you're so funny. He said, no, tell me you robbed me.
Oh, he lost his wallet?
I said, I don't get it. He said his pants were inside out and he had his shoes off.
Oh, Lord.
And I still feel bad to this day because they wouldn't have if he'd not dropped me off. Dougie Doug, comedian Dougie Doug. You know, he did well. Mike B, you got to listen to him. You know, I ran into him. Bob took me to see him in Harlem. I was a model for the Apollo. And we went next door to this little hole, and this kid got up like Biggie Smalls, as black and ugly as ever. I fought right through the crowd. I said, let me touch you. You're next. And the next thing, he was on Comedy Central with his own. He said, you told me it was going to happen. But he just had it. Some people have that gift for looking at people and knowing they've got it. And, you know, I dated Spike for a minute. That was, Anyway, I went on to do Honda, Ford, Toyota, Bank of America, Carolina Panthers, Pennsylvania Lottery.
Is there what advice would you give to someone who finds himself in a similar situation?
I suggest you do it on your own. Hollywood has rewritten the program, and corporate America's in charge. They're doing this AI. They sent us a notice that brown women were going to be the first to be replaced because we're the most influential. So all of these voices that you are hearing, girl, they trying to trick us with Trump. That's all AI. Because we have all done our part, from Taraji to myself, walking into Kay's Jewelers and telling Angela, you've already got it. Now what we want you to do is do this. Girl!
So when you say do it yourself, when you say the advice would be to do it yourself, I'm talking about what advice would you give to someone, another woman who's young, because you were.
Don't do it. Do it yourself. Go get a red camera. Take the loan out. Make your own movies. Learn an editing software.
I see. So don't get caught up in some man's office. In other words.
That doesn't exist anymore. They've changed the game.
Okay.
Now, if you don't have 3-4 batches, you can't act anyway.
Oh. When you say three or four what? Talent?
Okay, let's say you got Moderna. That's 2 shots, but they want you to have boosters.
Oh, vaxes. Okay, I got what you're saying.
Or else you can't act. You can act on low-budget movies. You can act on non-union productions, but you're going to get treated like that. Like the difference in being on a low-budget Tyler Perry thing, for example.
Right.
I've gone to his auditions. I've never accepted work for him. I've only done one of his auditions. I didn't do the other 2. I have nothing, I don't know him personally, so let's go forward. You know, you're on the set 15 hours, and they come in and tell you they're changing the dialogue. So let me
rephrase the question then. Is there a message you'd share with others about personal boundaries and safe?
Be your own boss. Learn to fight.
Ooh. I like that.
Nothing will beat blood on your knuckles for proof that you had to do what you had to do. Know your laws. Stand your ground. Don't be worried. Be more worried about them telling you, okay, he got away with it. Because I got respect. People know now, touch her, you're going to get stomped. I had to do that in a recording studio. I have to, if it comes to it, in a recording studio in New York. I already said no hands. Now this is what it's going to be like. You got this pretty tricked, this 5'1", 100 pounds long raven hair. But watch these 5-finger sandwich. Because I'm not going to let you do what you want to do. They do it because they figure, well, okay, the next one I'll get the record deal. There are no more record deals.
Right.
Not with the internet. Then what you doing it for? He's never going to be in love with you. He's never going to follow you because there's too many tricks who's willing to do it bigger, better, and badder than you. Keep your self-respect. Nobody tells me what to do.
Do you feel that there are others out since you've been watching all these cases, and there's of course the situation with you, of course you know about my situation, you've seen all of this happen. Do you feel that there's others out there that just haven't come forward? Because I just heard you say, I just didn't want to say anything.
I don't want to mention her name now, but you know who she is. She's brown. She had a #1 starring role, early 2000s. I did that show. She disappeared.
Oh, wow.
They offered her a superior role. She was going to be the new brown starlet. I hate the word black, but new brown starlet of Hollywood. she prepared, script, 6-8 weeks, meetings, sizings, fittings, got there. Oh, things have changed. The guy you were supposed to do the sexting with can't make it, but we brought in Fido the dog. Now, all you have to do is pretend. You don't have to actually do it. Just show us what you would do if Fido the dog was buried. Now, take off all your clothes, get on all fours, and let Fido hump you. And she did this. And they filmed it. And she had a nervous breakdown. I've had girls tell me, oh, they wanted a bra. She got there and did the bra, and they said, okay, yeah, that looks great, your bra. Now lift up your bra and let me see your nipples. Do your nipples get hard? If you suck this, sing into the one-eyed mic. That's what I was told.
So in other words, you've heard...
I didn't know what a one-eyed mic was. No, see, you and every other man was laughing. I'm sitting there waiting for the joke. What is a one-eyed mic?
So you've heard a lot of...
Oh, you really don't know. Oh, I'm sorry.
So needless to say, you've heard a lot of other stories, you're saying, pretty much, that have taken place in and around the industry with other people.
I know one female, I cannot remember her name. I only met her 2 or 3 video shoots.
Now we're not talking about Puff, are we?
No, this is, I don't remember their name. Ralph did it.
Okay.
This girl was beautiful. I only worked with her maybe 2 or 3 times. The 4th video, I was expecting to see her. She was just so fresh, you know. She was it. An Aaliyah, Angela type. And I said, where's she at? Black hair. And they said, oh, she died. Somebody gave her vaginal warts. Those turn into cancer. They're called condyloma. And they usually sit at your cervix. She didn't even know she was sick.
Crazy.
So, yeah, these 2 chicks, I would have to ask somebody who their names are. Twins, I want to say, went to Harvard. Al was banging their back out. Had one sister pregnant, talk her into an abortion. And the other sister would get pregnant. He talked her into abortion. I stayed at their house 2 or 3 times, but they were just too simple for me. Those beatings, that's for, you know, you can't say it's a lack of a father. Right. That's not. Maybe a father figure. You know, like Bob Celestin was a father figure to me. Judge O.T. Wells, he helped me in the business. His son runs NAACP. He was a father figure to me. Tony Anderson, Arista Records. You know, I'm not saying they didn't try and get some. But once I let them know where I stand, it's not worth it. Then it was over.
Dr. Steve also, you mentioned.
Definitely Dr. Steve. He got in anybody's face. He said, she's not like that. We want to leave at least one of them like her. Keith Shockley.
Right.
Fats. He was with the Bomb Squad. Crunch. He's now in Atlanta. He's still with Chuck D. Just, you know, so Raheem. What's his name? He was so ugly. But he was nice. He dated Karen White. Can't think of his name, but he was another one. Just, you know, you have to let yourself be out there like that, though. You got to draw your lines.
Right. It's like a thin line. it's like a thin line to, on one hand, expose yourself and put yourself out there, and then on the other, fend off the attacks or the predators, or yeah.
Yeah, you start setting up your own VPN. You start studying, paralegal for dummies. And
I see.
Put your own tracks out.
You don't think Bob Celestin's a lawyer, do you?
He is.
Oh, he is. Okay, I got his picture here. He's got the RAC law firm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yale, Columbia Law. Arista Records. He got, what's his name, his money. Not Bootsy Collins. What's the other guy?
Well, I see Chris Rock. I see Diddy. I think he's got different relationships going on here. You talking about Irv Gotti?
Sly Stone.
Oh, Sly. Oh,
Irv
yeah.
Gotti.
Yeah, busy.
He put a lot of people on. I'm
Yep.
prime example.
I see.
Names who aren't on there, and I'm grateful that his name has stayed out of this.
Okay.
Because he hired Buck.
Oh, I see.
He was the GM. Nothing moves without the GM.
So when you say a GM, you talking about GM at Uptown?
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying. So you're saying you're not mentioning him because you said he brought him in. So essentially, somewhat responsibility is in there somewhere.
I don't know how he has avoided it to this point.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he'll shy from it.
Okay. But he sounds like a stand-up guy, like he was, he was looking out for you. You know what I mean? He told you, don't go near him. He kept giving you warnings.
Flocking the calls, threatening. He is the guy you need to talk to. You should call him, and all you have to do is tell him you spoke with Angela Goude, and he will get on the phone and call and talk to you. If anything, he deserves big ups. If anybody was running a tight ship, it was Mr. Catholic Pants.
You called him Mr. Catholic Pants? Did you used to call? Did you used to call him that?
Yes, when he made me mad.
Wow.
His brother makes films. Fritz.
What'd you say?
His brother Fritz makes films.
Oh, okay.
His cousin Ben is a bank president in Atlanta. Tanya, who married Spike, tried to make him marry her. But he wasn't having it.
Mr. Catholic Pants, wow.
The guy, Reuben Cannon, he got me to Hollywood. He's made everybody from Sigourney Weaver to... Who hasn't he made? Halle Berry, Wesley Snipes, Denzel Washington, Robert De Niro. Look up Reuben Cannon. He tried to put me with Oprah.
Did they come after the incident with Puff? I mean,
Yeah.
Not they as in Bob, because I know he was there, but I'm talking about Reuben.
Reuben came, he picked me for a speaking part in a Whoopi Goldberg movie called Eddie.
Right.
I was in Canada, missed the audition, but he said he still wanted me to do something, and that the only thing he had was a waitress. So I had nothing else to do. I had just moved to Charlotte a week before, so I took the gig. The military was my biggest employer, hiring me to pretend to show the military how they're supposed to act. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
mind control.
Good stuff, Angela. Good stuff. I think I got a lot. I got a lot to start with, and what I'll do is, as I put it together, I'll shoot you some first drafts. Yeah. If you notice, did I send you? Did you read the night Puff tried to kill me? I have to send it to you.
Yes, I did.
You did? It's like 50-something pages. It's cute. You know what I mean?
I'm publishing it and republishing it to friends.
Oh, you're so crazy. Okay, cool. So, yeah.
Hey, it helps.
Yeah, I mean...
We gotta get this overseas.
That's not the that's not my priority. It's just I needed to get that off my shoulders. But I also believe there's other people out there that he, has done wrong by in more than one way. I just saw a news clip that just popped up. Actually, my lady just tagged me in it. Easy Mo B just went viral, talking about how Puff took advantage of him. Not in a sexual way, but he was talking about obviously the dealings that they had together. So
you could talk to Buster. He was signed when I first signed on. He was my first artist. Sweet as pie. You should talk. And there is a guy, he called me, I don't know how many times, sent a plane ticket. I can't think of his name. But I'm going to send you Roni's name. He's doing a documentary. And he's filmed most of it.
A documentary about what?
About hip-hop, rap, the early days.
Oh, okay. That's who I was going to ask you. Did you know Benny Pugh?
That name rings a bell.
He was in one of the record labels up there. I'm not sure if it was MCA or Arista. Also, what was I gonna say? You've been kind of shying away from the whole Devontae thing. Is there a reason, or what's up with that?
Devontae is spam for life.
Okay, so you had a I would say a loving relationship with him. He just went too far.
All of them. I had a loving relationship with all of them, but again, Bob, when they landed,
right?
They came to the Al B. Shore party. I don't remember, somewhere in the Bronx or Harlem. We were up on a rooftop. I remember that. I have pictures. And they were dressed in their Sunday best. And Bob said, this is Angela. She's got North Carolina roots. You're going to stick close to her. And that's the way it went. So you get put with people.
Right.
But as far as anything negative to say, I have never heard from his mouth he does drugs. And I would hate to hear it. Nothing but love. All of them, nothing but love. I
see what you're saying. So it was a moment, but it didn't turn violent.
Never. The one I was closest to was KC.
Right.
And for me to hear story after story of how, he broke Mary's nose and
right.
bruised her sternum, and that's not the Cedric. That's not my setting.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a lie.
Right.
I'm saying the Cedric I knew, complete opposite.
But she not to say that it happened that way, but she also could have provoked it. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, back then they used to call it, Angela, because I wanted to go and start, just jumping on songs.
Right.
Where I could fit in. That's the way you get on.
Right.
And they said, we don't want you to be no studio hoe.
Right.
So you can only work on Public Enemy stuff. And, it's very limited. That's just notes and keys and stuff. But in retrospect, I see what they were doing.
Right.
I was not
They were trying to protect you. I get it.
Yeah, I see that now. You know, I have nothing bad to say. If somebody told me they raped girls, that would floor me. But I will give you, I'll text you Ronnie's number. He will give you more background.
Who's that?
Ronnie is the one I put on that did BBD.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to talk to him. It would be good to get a couple of other perspectives. I wish you had a connection with the woman, because apparently she was like right close, and you said she reached out to you more recently.
Oh, Camille?
Yeah.
I'll send you her number. She'll talk to you. I talked to her about 2 months ago.
Oh, awesome. But
She'll be more to talk to you.
Huh?
It's just so few left, you know.
Yeah, I know people dying off. I know.
And now they're trying to call me, since I think it's because I'm one of the only ones left that looks like something. I look exactly the same because I didn't get caught up in that. But they're calling me the Suzanne DePass.
Okay.
That's what I am in the video.
Okay.
So when you call Roni, he'll get you in contact with the videographer, and they filmed Cube and a bunch of other people.
Cool beans. So I'm going to leave it there. Appreciate the time. I'm going to put some stuff together and get back to you shortly. Okay. Have a good night. Enjoy your food. All right.
I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Pray to God we have